Okay, so we're just going to quickly do our slip pocket, as I forgot to do that one before the side pockets. Right, I'm going to stitch that across the top using the seam allowance stated in the pattern. Again, you can divide this pocket however you want to. I'm just going to divide it in half. I did learn the hard way, it is always worth dividing your pockets, because if you don't and they're too big, they naturally gape and then they just fall into the bag and you can't use them. So always, if you have a big pocket, do that. I'm just going to do that to try and get a neater edge. I'm going to top stitch along there. And now I'm just going to fold this in half and finger press it, and I fold this in half and put a couple of snips in to find the middle. Now we're going to put this right side up and we're going to take our slip pocket and we are going to place that onto the bag. We're going to stitch round it. So we're just going to baste the bag to the pockets of the bag. And then the centre. That's that one done. So now you'd go on and do your pockets that we've already done. We're going to do our zipper tab for our exterior. So we're going to need our zipper tape, a ruler and our zipper tabs. I'm going to just singe the ends to stop them from running, although this one's doesn't run very much. I'm going to fold it over the amount stated in the pattern, and then I'm going to slip it in just in. I don't want it all the way to the end. I'm going to clip. Now, as I said, I do these slightly different to Rachel, just because I get confused with all the numbers, so I just go straight to the end. Fold this one. This, and then get a pen and I'm going to look and see what the mark is, and I'm going to mark there. Double check. Zip. just slightly more in. Cut. Place it in. Now I'm just going to double check the length. Now we're going to take our exterior panels, and yes, you know, I've done a bit thingy all the way along, so we're going to have a top panel, one each side's going to be a different colour. So we're going to have the I've got to soak those on first. So sew those across. And then on the straight side, so now we're going to do our pockets. You've got H, G and I think. I've used some Mot de Grange, I'm going for it. So H is your slip pocket. So we're going to stitch across the top. Right, hold on, machine's playing up. Okay, so just fixed the machine. So now I'm going to sew across the bottom. And we're going to turn that. Now this is the slip pocket. So the great thing about this bag is you have the option of a slip pocket or a gathered pocket. Or you can do one of each like I'm doing, or you can have two slips. You know what I've done? Oh no, I've done it right. Phew. No, I don't think I have, you know. Hold on. Right, so now we're going to take one of our side panels, and I'm going to measure down the distance in the pattern from the top. Before we sew the pocket on, let's just find the middle. Find the middle. And just remember that the wider end is the bottom, the narrower end is the top. I don't think I sewed that very straight. I think that's my seam allowance is on. Hold on. Okay, so I hadn't quite sewn a straight seam. So we're going to top stitch across the top, which is the narrower end. And then we're going to take it to the, no, I'm going to place it on here. And we are going to stitch it onto here. So we're going to come round and down. We're only going to baste along here, and then we're going to stitch along the bottom. And then we're going to come up this side. And then jumping ahead slightly, but we need to do it anyway. We are going to place the D-ring on, and we are going to place it and centre it in the middle with some hanging over. I'm just going to baste it on. Now that's one of your side panels done. Now we will do the elastic panel. She says, having lost the piece. Right, so this is done slightly different, but still pretty much the same. We're going to take our 2 pieces, right sides together. Again, one side is slightly thicker down the bottom. We're going to top stitch. We're going to stitch across the top and the bottom using the seam allowance in the pattern. Back to construction and stitch. And again. I'm going to turn it. Fold it. Take our other side panel. Again, bottom is the wider, top, so we're going to top stitch along here, back to top stitch length. Now, whatever size elastic you're using, this is how I do it. I go to the line I've just drawn, and then I draw a rough line. And now I also, because I always find if I try and measure it, I always end up measuring it too big, too small, normally too small, so I have to take it out and redo it. This is just the elastic I've got here, whatever elastic you've got. Then using your bodkin, or you can use a safety pin, either one works. You're going to just push your elastic through. And as I learned from doing elastic pockets on my teddy backpack, don't make them too tight, otherwise it brings all the it brings the whole bag in. Right, so we're going to measure down again the space in the top. Oh, let's find our center points. Center points. And we are going to line up the top of the bag with there on the side here and the side there. We're going to clip it and we're going to take it to the machine and we're going to baste it on. Now what you're going to do is you're going to pull the elastic so you can start getting some now we're still going to use that line. Going to clip here and clip here. I'm just going to give that a little pull so it's not too tight, because we don't want it to pull too much. Just shape the whole bag. Right, so now we're going to sew up this side. So across the elastic. We've done, not quite got that. And we're we're going to cut the elastic. Now Rachel does give you instructions on how to do this, but I'm just going to eyeball it because that's how I roll. So you're going to pinch up and then you're going to just push it down. And you just take a little bit of a aim with. I'm going to pinch it up. Pinch them up the same width, same sort of height, in the middle-ish. And then just going to push them down. So basically you're making a pleat in the fabric. And of course it goes much better every time I'm not on camera than when I am. And then just push it down. And just push it down. That's it. Now we're just going to take it to the machine and we're going to stitch across there. And then back stitch. As I said, Rachel's given you instructions and measurements on what to do. Didn't do that one very well there. There we go. See, I forgot that one didn't quite go, but okay. You've now got your side pocket. Okay, so I misread the wrong line. Told you it happens. And I made the zip too small. I have just corrected that, but I've kept in the bit I recorded because I did it exactly the same way. I just made sure I used the correct length, not the one before it. It's also because I'm using a tablet for the first time and I haven't really, or second time, I normally print it on paper. Right, so I'm going to set to construction length stitch. Going to move our zip out of the way. We're going to sew this with the seam allowance stated in the pattern. I'm going to move the zip out of the way. We're doing a drop-in lining, so if you we're going to do a drop-in lining, so if you don't want to see two lines of stitching, make sure you use a stitch colour that contrasts to the fabric. We're going to want to make sure we push this down back like this, and now we're going to top stitch. So back to top stitch length. And now we're going to take our other side. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Zip out of the way, making sure we line the two up. Right, a little bit further and then we get to the zip. So we want to move the zip. No, we don't. We're 5 miles from the zip. Can't do it. I'm going to move our zip back. Now we're going to open it up again. We're going to fold the zipper back. We want to make sure that the zip is lying flat. And when we put it under here, we want to make sure you have the zip tab pointing that way. The zip is all nicely folded in. That's your top. I quite like that. That's looking rather cool. Right, so now we're going to do the lining piece. Right, so now we're going to take our lining piece, and as we're doing a drop in, it is slightly different. Oh, I'm going slightly ahead of myself, but that's fine. We are going to take our lining panel piece, and we are going to measure. See, I'm struggling because I've not got it. Here we go. There we go. So we're going to measure in the distance required from the outside edge stated in the pattern. And now we're going to go to the sewing machine, and we are just going to stitch these two bits. Do the same in this bit. Now get some double-sided, that's the wrong one, where's it gone? Some double-sided sticky tape. We are going to, oh no, I need to draw the line first. Double pen now. Whatever the seam allowance is, double it and then draw a line. Place the sticky tape at the line. I'm either going to be able to peel this off or not. You know how this goes. Yay. Bin's disappeared. Now starting in the middle, we're going to fold to that line that we just drew. And it's easier to draw to that line than it is to draw the seam allowance and then actually cut it, then being able to, you can't see it if you do it, because if you drew it along here, you've got to try and fold it, whereas if you draw the longer line, you can see where you're going. Sorry, really struggling with my voice. Right, so now like that again. Right, now we're just going to pop that to one side, and that's your lining done. Now we're going to add our side panels. So we're going to take our front panel, top panel even, our side pockets, which I did add both those two. I'm going to clip it to the machine, and we're going to stitch it with the seam allowance stated in the pattern. I'm just going to go over this a few times. Now we're going to add the bottom. Now we're going to take the top sides, I'm going to push that down, we're going to top stitch across there. I'm going to do the same here, making sure that the D-ring goes up and that this comes down. And there we have it. So now we're going to do exactly the same with the lining. Remember, the bigger bit is the bottom. So these are all right sides together. Go, and now that's your inside sewn. So now we're going to add our side panels. Right, so now we're going to add our gussets to our exterior and lining panel. Now we're going to want to go from the top here, want to measure down the size in the pattern, and then we want to just make a mark on the side. I know I'm using Sharpie, but it's just within the seam allowance. Right, so I'm going to start with, I don't know which one's the front, which one's the back. It can be either, can't it? Who knows? It's either way. Right, if the zips are all on the left, we've got to make sure this zip's on the left as well. So I think that means, no, we want this, that one, that way, no, that way, left, left. I always struggle. Right, so now we're going to pin top. Just fold that down. I'm going to fold that one down. I definitely need to get some more of this vinyl covering to put. Didn't quite have enough. But it definitely helps with the glare. There's not so much glare from the lights. So 2 clips there. Now those marks that we made on the side, that is where our side panels should meet. I'm just going to trim some of this interfacing, no, fleece off. I couldn't find my pieces where it's smaller, but I knew my machine could go through the thicker layers. Right, so now we are going to pin this round. That corner's not quite reaching. Let's see how this one goes. I need to put just a few little snips in here. It's because you're putting a straight round the corner. That's not quite. Let's start. Yeah. Just going to put a couple of little clips in here because you're putting a straight round a curve. I'm just going to butterfly open that seam. I always find it easier to work towards the corner from each side. Just butterfly that one open. Again, a few little clips. Just need to make sure they stay within the seam allowance. Now we just need to work on these ones. Again, a couple of little snips. might also find you need to just move a few and clip. Once you've got the bits clipped, it's all a matter of just moving the stuff around within the little bit of the bit that you've, like your quarter. Sometimes you just have to take them off and then just re-putting them in does it. You've still got a bit there. Now we're going to take that to the machine and we're going to sew that with the seam allowance stated in the pattern. Making sure we're on construction length stitch. I'm going to start at the bottom. Oh, look, I didn't butterfly that seam out. I'm going to start in the middle just because that's what I like to do. Remembering to backstitch. There we go, that's our first one put on. There's a few dimples, puckers. Hey. So now we're going to stick this side on. I'm going to match up our centres. On the wrong thing. centre. I'm going to zip this up a bit to start with because I like the stop it. Just managed to move the tension. I like the stability it gives for the pinning to start with. Again, I'm going to look on here for the mark we drew and line it up with the side gusset. Let's go back down the bottom. Where's my scissors? There they go. On the floor. So again, I'm working towards the curve, just how I like to do it, opening up that seam, that seam. Put a few clips in here. Few. There we go. Now we're going to stitch that. Start the bottom again. Unzip the zip. Went off seam allowance there, and here by the looks of it. Let's just cut that bit off. Go back. Right, I forgot to move my D-ring down. I'm just going to fold my D-ring down. Wow, I like this. I like this a lot. Wow, it's just emerging. Oh wow, I like. Right, so now we're going to grab the lining. So I'm going to find the middles. Side panels up. Side panels together and up. And then bottom bits, clip, and we're going to mark exactly the same as we did on those. Now we're just going to pin them. That's your lining all sewed. Yay! Now we're going to put the two together. Take a deep breath. If you've been at this for a while, go and take a cup of coffee. If not, let's get going. Right, so I turn mine inside out. Now, I don't know, I can't decide, so we'll randomly do this one. So I've got this inside out, this is also inside out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and match up the holes at the bottom and just along the side. Now what this does is this stops when if you've loaded your bag full of stuff and then you go to pull it out and you pull the lining out with the bag, this will stop this from happening. So I haven't trimmed any of the seam allowances up, so I'm just going to pin across here, and I'm literally just going to tack them together. Do the same on the other side. And I'm literally doing this within the seam allowance of the exterior. Right. Now, this is how I do it, because I find it easier this way. So we are now going to match up our you won't have this bit here, it's just that I couldn't find my smaller photo fleece cut out bits, so I just kept it to the outside of the bag. So this is the inside bit. We're just stitching it to there like we just did with the bottom. We're just bringing it up so it will fit nice and snug in the bag. And you'll also notice that the lining, when we sew it on, is sewn with a different seam, a slightly smaller seam allowance, sorry, larger seam allowance, so that you get a nice tight snug fit in your bag. And the same across here. My bobbin's run out. Okay, so I fixed the bobbin and just redid that bit that I'd missed. Now, when you sewed this, you've got a line of stitches here. What I do is I take this bit and I find the middle and I line it up with this line of stitches, and then I know that when I go to do my top stitch, so long as I am behind this line, I am on my, I'm covered. So first of all, I'll pin it. I just find it easier to do it this way round. I'm gonna put this in. Again, I'm lining up this edge with my stitching. I'm going to do the same on this side. So I'm bringing this up round up to here. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to grab my glue. I use 3-in-1 beacon. It's just what I like to use. Excuse me. Now we're going to use the glue and we're going to run a very thin line just through there, and then I'm going to pin it. I do apologise if you can hear my son shouting in the background. It's after school and they're playing on their games, and as it's the longest day today. No, it's not the longest day today. Almost. It's warm today. We finally have some sunny weather here in the UK. Again, just pop some along here. I find that I do this because I find then I let it dry for 10 minutes, and then I just find it's easier than worrying about it shifting because the clips have moved, or you've got your stuff, you're caught in, you're done, you're sorted. Just a very thin line, and just move it up, as I said, to the line. And then middle again. That's it. Now we're going to leave that for 10 minutes to dry, and then we will be back to sew it and turn it in the right way. Okay, Okay, so we've let the glue dry. I'm going to take the clips off. Now I've done that, I'm going to go to the machine. I'm going to bring you down a bit more and we will start stitch. Okay, so that's better, not quite so high up. So we want to go to our top stitch length. Now I find it easiest sewing it this way, as I don't have a free arm. I'm going to start at the bottom here. And I'm going to follow as close as I can to the stitching that is already there. This is where doing one line of stitching in a matching colour means you don't have two standout lines of stitching. And I'm going to turn. So you come back the other way. Just as I thought, oh, we finished the bag, I've suddenly realised we still have got to decide on what colour straps I want. Now we'll bring it in the right way. I think I'll just poke all the corners out. Need to give it a good press. What colour webbing? I think we need orange. I think orange. I quite agree with that. Orange webbing it is. Orange webbing it is. Okay, as I'm carrying on the miscellaneous option, I am going to use rose gold hardware to match the rose gold zipper. that's it. So we're going to put this one here. We are going to just fold over and secure, and then we are going to add this one on. And that, and then we are going to add this underneath. Oh, didn't mean to pull that bit. And then we're going to fold this bit over, and we're going to stitch across there, and then that will give you your adjustable shoulder strap. So you're going to stitch here and stitch here, and then on the bag you are going to pop your webbing in and fold it over, and then you're going to stitch across, fold it. Oh, can't see, can you? Fold it, stitch it across, pop it in, fold it up, and then do exactly the same here. Fold it in, pop it up. And then the other thing to do to make sure is your handles come to the same height. So I'm going to do that off camera, because that's just, you're literally just going to stitch across here, stitch across there, stitch across there, and it's already a really long video. So thank you so much for being here and making it with me.